To define geology is no simple task, as geology has so many subfields that it impacts history, biology, chemistry, astrology, etc., in ways that it's almost hard to draw the line. I found that the Webster's definition of geology was the best. It's got two parts, and I will take both parts individually. Part A science that deals with the history of the Earth and its life, especially as recorded in rocks. That part of the definition is what makes this an interesting definition, because it's the history of life relative to rocks. It's not talking about current day life as much. It's not talking about current day ecosystems. It's talking about ancient fossil ecosystems and prehistoric life. So the impact that it is talking about is the study of how life evolved and diversified in such a way, and how the life dealt with its individual environments during the history of the Earth. And then the history of the Earth section, relative to rocks, is also pretty interesting, because a lot of geology is the history of the Earth, but part B of this definition shows that geology is not just the history of the Earth, because it's also a study of the solid matter of a celestial body, such as the moon, which is in Earth's history, such as meteorites, which is in Earth's history, but other planets like Mars, Venus, Mercury, and other astrogeological phenomenon. So it's representing the fact that geology is very broad and very impactful, but still relative to minerals, rocks, development processes. How do these impacts influence how humans have developed? Well, the finding of fossil fuels and different resources such as that have greatly impacted the history of humans. Industrial Revolution itself is based around the finding of those fossil fuels, which requires geology, because fossil fuels are created by microbes billions of years ago being compressed under sediments upon sediments upon sediments upon sediments. And knowing the history of life and where those microbes form relative to sedimentology, mineralogy, and where they form the Earth is important, because that influences how much we have and how much we used, which that jump-started the Industrial Revolution as we started mass-producing things, and it led to a lot of other developments in human history. It also influences today's history, as oil interests are always talked about in the news or talked about in world relations, as there have been wars over oil interests, such as Afghanistan. It's very much a part of today's economy, as we still need these resources, and they're not infinite, so they have to be found and they have to be managed. So it's still a huge part of today's life. And then there's other things like tectonic plates relative to volcanology, so predicting volcanoes, predicting earthquakes, predicting eruptions. There's so many things in geology that are impacting today's society and past society that geology is still very much important to today and should be treated with a respectful definition that respects its impact. Thank you.